저기 파란색
Lovely
뭐야?
viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that will touch every corner of your heart. It's the kind of moment that words can hardly describe, the kind that brings warmth, joy, and tears all at once. Lee Min-ho, the man we've watched grow from a charming actor to a beloved husband, has just experienced one of life's most breathtaking moments, holding his newborn twins for the very first time. And trust me, you'll cry too once you hear what really happened inside that hospital room. It was a calm and peaceful morning in Seoul. The city buzzed with its usual rhythm, but inside a private wing of a luxury hospital, time seemed to stand still. Song Hye-kyo, exhausted but glowing, lay on the hospital bed with a look of pure peace on her face. The room smelled faintly of fresh flowers, white lilies and roses, Min-ho's favorite bouquet for his wife. Nurses whispered gently as they adjusted blankets and checked vitals, while Lee Min-ho stood frozen at the door, tears already gathering in his eyes. For months, fans had been waiting for this moment, the day Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo would welcome their twins. Rumors and whispers had filled the internet, but now it was real. Min-ho had been pacing the hallway for hours, calling his mother, texting friends, and constantly glancing at the delivery room door. But the moment he heard those first tiny cries echo from inside, his knees went weak. It was real. He was a father, not just to one baby, but two precious souls who had just changed his entire world. As the nurse stepped out with a warm smile and said, "Mr. Lee, you can come in now," Min-ho could barely move. His heart raced, his eyes flooded with tears, and his hands trembled as he walked toward his wife and their babies. When he reached the bedside, there they were, two tiny bundles wrapped in soft white blankets, sleeping soundly beside their mother. He reached out gently, afraid that even his touch might wake them. The nurse whispered, "You can hold them, sir." And that's when it happened. Lee Min-ho, the confident actor we've seen command stages, fight battles, and charm millions, suddenly broke down. Tears rolled down his cheeks uncontrollably. His lips trembled as he whispered, "They're so small, how can something so perfect exist?" Song Hye-kyo, still weak but smiling softly, reached out her hand to touch his face. "You're their father, Min-ho. You helped create them. You're holding our miracle." The room went quiet. The cameras weren't rolling, there were no scripts, no rehearsals, just raw, honest emotion. The twins, one boy and one girl, were named after the stars, Min-jun and Haeun. Lee Min-ho cradled them in his arms, his heart swelling with emotions he had never known before. He kissed their tiny foreheads, whispering promises between sobs. "I'll protect you. I'll love you both more than I love myself. I'll never let you feel pain or loneliness. I swear it." At that moment, even the medical staff teared up. The scene felt straight out of a fairy tale, but it was real. Fans who later heard about this moment couldn't stop crying. Some shared online, "Lee Min-ho deserves this happiness. After everything, he finally got his forever family." Others said, "Just imagining him crying while holding his twins makes my heart melt." Min-ho later confessed in a quiet interview that he never thought he would cry that hard. "When I saw them," he said, "I realized life isn't about fame or achievements. It's about moments like that, pure, real love that changes you forever." Song Hye-kyo, too, couldn't stop staring at her husband as he embraced their children. "He looked so fragile," she said softly. "It was the first time I saw him cry without hiding it. It was beautiful." In the following days, the couple's home was filled with the soft sound of baby cries, gentle lullabies, and laughter. Lee Min-ho would stay up late every night, helping Song Hye-kyo rock the twins to sleep. Sometimes he would sing softly to them, his deep voice filling the quiet of the nursery. "You are my sunshine," he'd hum, while brushing his son's tiny hand or adjusting his daughter's blanket. The actor, known for his strong and composed demeanor, became the softest version of himself. Every diaper change, every sleepless night, every tiny giggle, it became his new script, his new role. But this time it wasn't acting. It was life. Song Hye-kyo shared that Min-ho would often stand by the crib just watching the twins sleep, smiling through tears. "He told me once," she said. "They don't even know who I am yet, but they've already made me the happiest man alive." And truly, that's all anyone needed to hear to understand how deep his love ran. Fans began sending congratulatory messages from all over the world. Social media was flooded with comments like, "Lee Min-ho crying made me cry too," and "This is the most beautiful love story ever told." It was as if the entire internet had come together to celebrate this moment of pure love and joy. Even celebrities close to the couple sent gifts and heartfelt notes. One of Min-ho's closest friends shared anonymously that Min-ho couldn't stop showing pictures of the twins. "He keeps saying, 'Look at their eyes, they're like Hye-kyo's,' and then he laughs like a little boy." Lovely viewers, imagine this. Lee Min-ho, who once made us swoon with his drama scenes, now sitting on a couch with both babies in his arms, smiling down at them with sleepy eyes. Song Hye-kyo resting her head on his shoulder, whispering, "We did it." Isn't that the kind of love that reminds you what really matters in this world? The day they took the twins home was equally emotional. As they strapped the babies into their little carriers, Min-ho held Song Hye-kyo's hand tightly. "I'm scared," he admitted, half laughing, half crying. She smiled at him. "We'll learn together." That line alone melted everyone's heart. It wasn't just a family being formed. It was two souls growing together, hand in hand. When they arrived home, Min-ho carried each baby inside personally, refusing any help. He looked around the nursery he had designed months before. Soft pastel walls, twinkling ceiling lights like stars, and photos of their journey framed neatly on the shelves. It was perfect. He whispered again, "Welcome home, my angels." That night, after the twins had finally fallen asleep, Min-ho took a quiet video on his phone. It wasn't meant for the public, but somehow fans got wind of it later. In the video he said, "This is the happiest night of my life. I cried today not out of sadness but out of gratitude. I finally understand what it means to live for someone else." And dear viewers, as you listen to this, it's impossible not to feel the tears forming in your own eyes. Because this isn't just about a celebrity moment. It's about real human emotion, about love, life, and the magic of family. Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo have shown the world that true love still exists. That no matter how famous, how busy, or how far we go, nothing compares to the moment of holding your child for the first time. What followed were moments so precious, so real, that every fan who heard about them couldn't stop crying with joy and pride. The first night at home for the Lee family was filled with both chaos and beauty. The twins, Minjun and Haeun, woke up several times through the night, crying softly as newborns do. Song Hye-kyo, though still recovering, tried to comfort them while Lee Min-ho fumbled with baby bottles and diapers, clearly still learning the ropes of fatherhood. At one point, the two looked at each other, exhausted yet smiling, realizing that this was their new normal. "Do you think we'll be good parents?" Hye-kyo asked softly, her voice weak but filled with love. Min-ho leaned in, brushing her hair back gently, and said, "We already are. Look at them, they're ours. That's all the proof I need." Lovely viewers, can you imagine how that must have felt? Two global superstars, usually surrounded by cameras and fans, now standing quietly in the middle of the night, with only the sound of their babies breathing between them. No scripts, no lights, just life in its purest, most beautiful form. Days turned into weeks, and Lee Min-ho began to find his rhythm as a father. He was seen multiple times outside their home, holding the baby's carriers with the gentlest care. Sometimes, fans caught him humming lullabies while walking with them in the garden. He wasn't just a father. He was a man completely transformed by love. According to a close friend of the couple, Min-ho became so protective that he refused to let even close relatives hold the twins for too long. "He's obsessed," the friend joked. "He watches them like they're made of glass. But it's adorable. You can see how deeply he loves them." And Song Hye-kyo, she couldn't have been prouder. Watching Min-ho become a father filled her heart with gratitude. "He's incredible," she told a friend. "He doesn't sleep much, but he never complains. He just stares at the twins and says he doesn't want to miss a single moment. Every morning before leaving for any work commitment, Min-ho would lean over the crib, kiss each twin on the forehead, and whisper the same words. "Appa loves you." Then he'd look at Hae-kyo and say, "You're my everything." It became a quiet family ritual, a moment of connection that kept their hearts bound together even in the busiest of days. The fans couldn't get enough of this. When photos of Lee Min-ho cradling one of the babies leaked online, his eyes still puffy from crying but glowing with pride, the internet exploded with emotion. "He looks like the happiest man alive," one fan wrote. "I've never seen him smile like that before." Others commented, "I cried seeing this. It's like watching love itself." Lovely viewers, you know what's even more touching? There was a moment, just 2 weeks after bringing the twins home, that truly showed how deep Lee Min-ho's emotions ran. One evening, when the babies were finally asleep, he sat beside their crib, took out his guitar, and began softly strumming a melody. Song Hae-kyo, curious, stood by the door watching him. He didn't know she was there. Between chords she heard him whisper, "This is for you too, my stars. Appa's lullaby." He sang softly. No cameras, no audience, just his voice and his children's gentle breathing. The song was about promises, love, and the fear of losing time. When he finished, he looked at them, his voice breaking, and said, "I'll be your light when the world feels dark." Hae-kyo couldn't hold back her tears. She walked over, hugged him tightly, and whispered, "You already are." After that night, Lee Min-ho began journaling daily about his experience as a father. Each entry, filled with raw emotions and tiny details, became his treasure. He wrote about the first time Haeun smiled in her sleep, the way Min-jun clenched his finger tightly, and the little squeaks they made when stretching. One entry reportedly read, "I never knew my heart could feel this full. I thought love was something you said, but now I know, it's something you live." Lovely viewers, doesn't that make your heart melt? The man we once saw as a handsome drama hero has now become the hero of his own life story, a devoted husband and a tender father who wears his heart on his sleeve. As time passed, Lee Min-ho and Song Hae-kyo began to open up more to the public about their family life. During a brief interview, Min-ho was asked what the first moment of holding his twins meant to him. He smiled softly and said, "I cried, but not out of fear or sadness. I cried because for the first time, I understood what unconditional love really feels like." That statement alone sent chills across social media. Fans replayed the clip countless times, commenting things like, "He speaks with his soul," and "No wonder Song Hae-kyo fell in love with him. He's pure love in human form." Inside their home, life continued beautifully. Lee Min-ho took charge of morning feedings while Song Hae-kyo handled storytime before naps. The couple often took turns singing to their babies, and sometimes they'd end up laughing because their voices would overlap, turning lullabies into funny duets. Those were the moments that made their bond even stronger. One weekend, the couple decided to take the twins on their first outdoor stroll. They chose a quiet park in Seoul, wearing simple clothes and caps to stay low-key. The air was crisp, the sun soft. Lee Min-ho pushed the stroller slowly while holding Hae-kyo's hand. They walked in silence for a while, then Min-ho whispered, "Can you believe they're ours?" Hae-kyo smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Every time I look at them, I still can't believe it." A fan who happened to spot them from afar said, "They looked like any other couple. No bodyguards, no flash. Just two people madly in love, taking a walk with their babies." It was the most beautiful sight. Later that evening, back at home, Hae-kyo posted a short message on social media that melted everyone's hearts. It read, "Some moments don't need captions, just gratitude." Accompanying the post was a blurry photo of two tiny hands holding each other. Fans knew instantly that it was the twins. The internet went wild, showering the couple with love and blessings. But the emotional highlight came a month later when Lee Min-ho, during a small charity event, unexpectedly mentioned his twins while giving a speech. He said, "Becoming a father changed me completely. I've learned that life isn't about chasing perfection. It's about cherishing imperfection, about loving deeply even when you're scared. My twins taught me that. The audience applauded, some even wiping tears from their eyes. Lovely viewers, imagine how proud Song Hye-kyo must have felt hearing those words. She later told a friend, "He's grown so much. He's not just my husband anymore. He's my home." And isn't that the most beautiful thing? To find someone who not only shares your dreams but helps you build a life full of meaning, laughter, and love. Every day, Lee Min-ho woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. The man who once spent his mornings rushing to film sets now found himself rushing to check on tiny giggles and baby stretches. The sight of his twins stirring awake became his favorite part of the day. He'd lean over the crib, whispering softly, "Good morning, my stars," and they'd respond with sleepy smiles or little coos that made him melt instantly. Song Hye-kyo would stand by the doorway, smiling as she watched him. She once said, "I fell in love with him all over again when I saw how gentle he is with them. He's the kind of father every child dreams of." Lovely viewers, can you imagine that sight? Lee Min-ho, once the face of charisma and confidence, now humbly swaying his babies in his arms, humming softly while trying to remember the right words to a lullaby. He'd often forget the lyrics and just start making up lines like, "Appa loves you, don't cry, little star," making Song Hye-kyo laugh so hard that she'd have to cover her mouth so as not to wake the babies. These little domestic moments, unseen by the public eye, became the foundation of their love story's next chapter. A chapter that felt more human, more tender, more alive. In one touching moment that friends later shared, Lee Min-ho had been sitting in the nursery one night long after everyone else had gone to bed. The twins were asleep, the house was quiet, and only the moonlight touched the floor. He sat in silence for a long time, then whispered to himself, "I never thought I'd be this happy." He later confessed to Hye-kyo that he was afraid of waking up from what felt like a dream. She held his hand and said, "If this is a dream, let's never wake up." Lovely viewers, how can one not tear up at that? Those words, so simple yet so full of love, show that their connection goes far beyond fame or fortune. They have built a world of their own, where love is the language, laughter is the music, and their twins are the melody that keeps it all alive. As the weeks passed, Lee Min-ho became even more involved in every tiny milestone. The first time Min-jun opened his eyes wide to look at him, Min-ho couldn't stop grinning. "He looked at me," he shouted excitedly, waking up Hye-kyo. "He looked at me like he knew who I was." And when Haeun giggled for the first time, he recorded the sound on his phone and replayed it over and over again like it was his favorite song. "That laugh," he said, "is the most beautiful music I've ever heard." It's these little things that truly melted fans' hearts when they learned about them. Social media was once again flooded with love messages. One fan commented, "Lee Min-ho's love story has become a masterpiece written by fate." Another wrote, "Every time I read about him and his twins, I cry like I'm part of the family." And honestly, lovely viewers, don't we all feel that way? Watching this family's journey unfold feels like being part of something sacred, a shared joy that connects us all. Even during his busy schedule, Lee Min-ho refused to let work keep him away from home for too long. He'd often finish filming earlier just to return home in time for the twins' bedtime. "No matter where I am," he once said, "my heart is always with them."